Before we even get started, can we just take a second to talk about the series finale of Game of Thrones real quick? What's that about? All I wanted to see was Jon and his people versus Daenerys and her people for one last epic battle scene to end the series off, and instead we get Jon, who is the rightful ruler of the Iron Throne, who is in charge of everything. He's the highest you could be. Gets told that he is sentenced to life in the Night's Watch for killing the fake ruler of the Iron Throne and basically saving the entire world from being burnt to extra crispy. Jon's brother sits on the throne. His sister is the Queen of the North now, and they had to sentence this man to the Night's Watch just so Daenerys's weird little crew aren't upset about the whole thing. I don't understand. I don't understand who wrote this. Was it somebody that's never seen the show before? Did somebody win some kind of contest to come in and write the series finale for Game of Thrones? Who cuts Grey Worm's hair? His cut is always nice and short and fresh. I don't know where he finds time to go get a fade in the middle of all these brutal wars that are going on, but not one single neck hair is grown in. Fresh. Anyway, intro. This is the... Man, it's super dark over here. These trees really filled in. Holy moly. This is the new DJI OSMO Action. I kind of have a love-hate relationship with action cameras. I'm an image quality guy. I can't really help it. If something doesn't look great on the screen, you know, it's hard for me to ignore it. Image quality was my main issue with the GoPro Hero 7 Black. I bought the thing twice and returned it twice. I just didn't feel like realistically I would ever use any of the footage that I shot with that camera. But I really do want to love action cameras. The size and the portability of these things for shooting on the go, it really is just great. Let's switch over to the OSMO Action for the remainder of this video.
Levels. Levels on levels. Whoa. Oh my God, you just got me on my mission. Told me get up on my job and not to worry about the rest if they ain't catching what I'm pitching. Yeah, they don't even know about the level increase. Sacrifice myself to make the devil deceased. The word cuts deep and then I let it repeat. Looking deep within so I can...
Alright, we are now on the DJI OSMO Action. First up, we have two screens, front and back, which I love. I mean, where else are they going to be? On the bottom and side? Of course they're on the front and back. That was stupid. We also have 4K up to 60 frames per second. I personally happen to like 60 frames per second better than I do 120 frames per second. We also have 1080p and 720p up to 240 frames per second. But anything past 60 frames per second and you lose the electronic image stabilization. Which brings me to my next thing, image stabilization. Similar but better to what I've seen so far as the GoPro's Hyper Smooth, we have what DJI calls Rock Steady, which is just electronic image stabilization, and it's really good. Now I can't really do a running test right now because I screwed up my back something awful. Alright, here's Rock Steady turned off. There is no type of image stabilization going on right now. Oh boy, I'm in the wrong spot. Here's my speed walk. And now let's turn Rock Steady on and do the same speed walk. Alright, now we got Rock Steady on and we're doing the same speed walk. Actually, we're walking even faster. I'm doing no type of ninja walk whatsoever right now. It's just, it works really well. What do you want me to say? Oh boy, there's something on me. Oh, fuck. Something crawled down my back. Hopefully it's on top of my shirt and not under my shirt. Alright, we also have HDR video, which is pretty great, but it's kind of unusable because you don't have rock steady stabilization available with HDR video, and if you care about Decinity, like, you lose that as well. So hopefully in the future, DJI includes that with a firmware update. Now, one of my absolute favorite things about the Osmo Action is the ability to set custom profiles. Meaning you could dial in your settings however you like them, 4K, 24, 30 frames, 60, whatever you like. Every single setting that you like, you could dial it in and then save it to a custom profile for quick access later. That's great. I use the memory recall on my mirrorless camera all the damn time, every single shoot, and I'll be doing the same thing with the Osmo Action. Oh, somebody wants to throw shit. I'm shooting 4K 24 frames per second, D-Cine-like. So I have that saved to custom profile 1. And custom profile 2, I have 4K 60 frames per second, D-Cine-like. Do you hear that? And then C3 is my time-lapse profile for whenever I want to shoot a time-lapse. Quick settings, everything is already set up exactly how I like it. Just click the button and go. Alright, so quick tip. To create a custom profile, all you have to do is dial in your settings exactly how you like them, slide the screen down, choose the person icon in the top left corner, and save your profile. If it doesn't show in the QS menu after you save it, you have to slide back down again, click the settings icon in the top right corner, and then make sure that that profile is checked. Now, one small bug that I did find while playing around with this, and I'm not sure if anybody else has noticed it or not, for my C2 profile where I saved the slow motion, the 4K 60 frames per second, I made sure that I had de-warp turned on, which real quick is another feature that I love in this camera. When you use these action cameras, there's such a wide field of view, and the glass that they put on them, it kind of makes it a little bit wider, so you get this circular fisheye type of look to it. And basically the Osmo Action has a de-warp option, so you click that, crops in just a little bit, but it straightens out all the rounded edges, which is great. I love it. When you try to save a custom profile at 4K 60 frames per second, and then you try to save that custom profile, I got a bug in my, something flew in my eyeball. So when you try to save a custom profile with 4K at 60 frames per second, and you turn on de-warp and save it with de-warp on doesn't save. So let's say you save it, de-warp is on, and you go back to custom 1 and you're shooting your 4K 24 frames or whatever you have it set at, and then you go back to your 4K 60 profile, de-warp will be turned off again. So you have to remember to constantly go in and turn it back on. Whereas any of the other frame rates I've tried, de-warp stays on the way it's supposed to. Now I'm pretty sure DJI will fix this pretty quick given their past history with firmware updates for the DJI OSMO Pocket. They did a great job at that, and they're still updating it like crazy. So I'm sure DJI will squash that bug real quick, because we all know how I feel about bugs. I showed them no mercy. Oh, they're on me. That was a fly. That wasn't even... I got bug spray on me. What the hell is going on here? Justin, you're a damn liar. That all natural bug spray don't work for shit. All it does is make my fingers all oily, so I get oily bug spray juice all over my damn lens and my cameras. Justin Zimmer, you're a damn liar. Everybody go over to his Instagram page at Beach to the Mountains and comment on his page and say you're a damn liar. The Osmo Action is waterproof up to 36 feet deep with no additional waterproof housing necessary, which is freaking great. So if you are for scuba, then you could film it. So the battery is a little unusual. They decided to attach the battery door cover to the bottom of the battery. So when you take the battery out, there's nothing covering that battery slot. It's a little unusual, but I'm sure it has to do something with waterproofing. Now onto the mic. There are 2 microphones on the DJI OSMO Action. There's also a USB-C port for charging, but no external mic jack, which means that if we do have the option of external audio on this thing, it's gonna have to come through the USB-C port. Back to DJI OSMO Pocket problems. Here we go again. This is my only real problem so far with this camera, even though I haven't had much time with it. The official DJI USB-C microphone adapter that we had to wait like 14 years for the Osmo Pocket does not work with the Osmo Action as of right now. That's right, I'll say that again. The Osmo Pocket USB-C microphone adapter that cost me $40. This tiny little piece of plastic does not work with the USB-C port in the Osmo Action. This is some malarkey. So it looks like we pretty much have two options here going forward. Really three. You could use the onboard microphones and just forget about the whole situation with these microphones. Not really what most people are looking to do. Also, we can hope and pray that DJI gives us a firmware update that allows us to use the already existing, perfectly fine working USB-C microphone adapter for the Osmo Pocket on the Osmo Action. And the third option is we gotta pay another $40 for the exact same microphone adapter, but it will only work with the Osmo Action. So then you gotta have two of these little plastic pieces to worry about. Not feeling it. Not feeling it, DJI. I mean, honestly, either way, I'm not feeling it. If you are gonna put out a firmware update that allows us to use the already existing microphone adapter, that should have been ironed out on the release of this camera. We shouldn't have to wait for these things. People don't want to buy a device or buy anything and then have to wait 2-3 months to use it properly. We want to use it. Yeah, I'm using it right now, but there's a hell of a lot of wind noise out here, and I'm not happy that I have to deal with possibly, and I'm pretty sure that we're going to get quite a bit of that. So either way, I'm not happy. And if it does wind up being that we have to wait for another adapter just to get external audio on this thing, it's gonna leave a sour taste in my mouth, like when I accidentally brush my teeth with lemon juice. By the way, how do you know when lemon juice is old? Like, does it get sweet? Up to this point, I was a huge supporter, and still am a huge supporter of the Sony X3000, and I've been claiming that that thing is king of action cameras for a long time now. But I think that king has been dethroned, and we have a new king. The crown sits on top of the head of the Osmo Action for best action camera in the world that money can buy, and that's just how I feel about it. There's just too many updated features over the X3000 at this point. Stabilization is better, technology is better, the design is better. 2 screens, the X3000 doesn't even have one. Filter options, no waterproof housing needed. Flat profile, 4K 60 frames per second. I mean, literally everything is better on the Osmo Action over the 3-year-old Sony X3000. And it had a hell of a run. I don't know any other camera that has been the best in its class for 3 years straight without an update. So my initial reactions, all positives, except for the one microphone adapter situation. It's all positives. And that opinion can change. But right now, the DJI Osmo Action wears the action camera crown. I hope this video helps somebody out there decide whether or not they wanted to purchase the DJI Osmo Action. If you did already purchase it, or you do plan on getting it, or you're waiting for your pre-order to arrive, join the conversation below. Know what you think. Make sure you follow me on Instagram at @the_everythingman. Alright, I gotta get out of here. I'm like a 25-minute walk from my car. I'm going back. I'll see you guys later. Salute.
Resume is a heavyweight, yeah. Put it on my back, give me everything, yeah. I need everything, I need all of everything, yeah.